Hello and welcome to Cable Plus Property, your #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your finger every information related to land acquisition, land procurement, building construction, registration, and obtaining a planning permit. My name is Oiza. In this video, I'm joined with a professor of urban planning. It will interest you to know that she's the first female as well as the first professor of urban planning that we will have on the Cable Plus Property Show. So if you are a female, you're a woman, you would definitely want to watch this video till the end. Her name is Professor Taibat Lawanson. Join me as I speak with her. Dr. Taibat Lawanson is a professor of urban planning at the University of Lagos, Nigeria, where she leads the Pro-Poor Development Research Cluster and serves as co-director at the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development. She holds a PhD in urban and regional planning from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. Her research focuses on the interface of social complexities, urban realities, and the quest for environmental justice. She's particularly interested in how formal and informal urban systems synthesize in emerging African contexts. She's a member of the Board of Directors, Legal Studies Association, and a member of the International Advisory Committee of the recently published UN Habitat flagship, State of the World's Cities Report. Join me as I speak with Professor Taibat Lawanson. Good afternoon, Mike. It's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, so I'm so glad speaking with you as the first woman professor would have on the show, because all of our guests so far have been male. So I believe that this would really interest our viewers. So for the benefit of our viewers, what is the megacity concept all about?
The megacity is simply a city that has 10 million, at least 10 million people. And so it's just a functional term that is used to describe large cities. Currently in Africa, we have few of them. Lagos with close to 20 plus million people. Egypt, Congo, Kinshasa. Those are the largest cities in Africa, and then there are others that are coming up. I think Johannesburg is also on the verge of hitting the 10 million population mark. So essentially that is what a megacity is. It's a large city, and with the pace of growth, across the continent, particularly through natural increase or migration, people increasingly moving to the city in search of the golden fleece, a better life, these numbers will continue to increase. And Lagos, where we are, is particularly impacted with the opportunities of the megacity, as well as the threats or challenges that will come with megacity development.
So is there a similar concept for cities that have below 10 million people?
Oh yes. So if a city is a large city or capital city, in the context of Africa, they are usually primate cities. So you find countries where there is one large city and then so many other smaller ones. These smaller ones are usually called secondary cities or intermediate cities. So in Nigeria, while Lagos is a primate city, we can say Abuja is a primate city. Secondary cities will be places like Akure or Osogbo or Benin City, that have large population, usually between 3 and 5 million, and have the vestiges of being regional centers.
What implications does the megacity concept have on the physical development?
Okay, so it depends on how, a city's government handles growth. Particularly planning, how the importance that the city places on physical planning, urban planning. that's what determines whether megacity is an opportunity or a threat, like I said before. So people come into the cities naturally, and it is desired because it expands the market, it improves economic opportunities. But with people coming into the cities, infrastructures must be provided for those people that are coming in the nature of housing, schools, health centers, mobility, opportunity for them to be able to move from one part of the city to another, from their homes to their jobs to their social activities and all. If a city is not planned, or if a city is not planned with accurate statistics that estimates how the city will grow and provides for current and future challenges, when that city becomes a mega city, it will be a mess. And that is the challenge we have in Lagos today, where we have infrastructure that can cater for 8 to 10 million people. But we have a population that continues to increase. We are now 20 million plus, and we're still growing. So the importance that the government places on planning is what will determine whether, you know, the mega city is a good thing or a bad thing for any city.
So in view of this, what role do women play in all of this concept?
Okay, in Nigeria today, we have, I think there are definitely more women than men. We have, I think, 51 or 52% of women.
Wow.
In the country. And in a city like Lagos, if Lagos is a microcosm of Nigeria, we'll say that at least 50% of the human beings that are resident or populate the city are women. And so their needs, their aspirations, their everyday patterns of life must be taken into consideration if we're going to have a system that works. And so it is also this half of the population that contribute to economic resources, to the soul of the city, to the life of the city, to social processes in the city. And their needs and aspirations, their challenges, the opportunities that are inherent in them must be taken into consideration.
Now, in most societies, we find that the males are always in dominance in terms of decision making, purchasing of land, design of buildings, and even usage of such buildings. How does this affect the women?
Okay, women are traditionally disenfranchised especially as it regards to urban development. Why? You said it earlier, the planning, for example, is a male-dominated profession, and then you have this issue where we have a patriarchal society that started from believing that women are chattels of men. You know, this misguided belief, I must add. But you find out that in a cosmopolitan city, women are aspiring and they are getting it. So the system is skewed against women, but it does not mean that women are not achieving. You go into there are some communities that there's a preponderance of female landlords. You find out that also in many families, women usually deploy their incomes and their livelihoods to taking care of the family. Whereas the men, and in taking care of the family, the data tells us that women usually deploy between 70 to 90% of their incomes towards their household, whereas men only deploy between 20 and 35% of their incomes towards, you know, household.
Well, that's contradictory to the general belief that the man is responsible for the home.
Exactly. Usually the man buys the house or pays the rent, all right, or pays for the school fees, the heavy ones. And then you have women that are covering every other thing, taking care of the children, ensuring that children, you know, do not go naked, do not go hungry, and things like that. And these everyday expenses also, you know, add up. That's one. The other thing is that women are generally earn lower incomes than men because of the level of unpaid work that they do. For example, household care. Usually the amount that the expenses or the income that is attached to domestic unpaid work that women usually take on to themselves is not added to their income. And so for many of them, they are even unable to get a secondary income source because they are committed to this domestic unpaid work, whereas men have the opportunity to seek multiple livelihoods, as we have seen. So women are essentially disenfranchised in the system that we have, which ought not to be, but things are shifting, and women that are able to break that ceiling are coming out and are able to break those barriers so that other women can walk in.
Do you think all of this have or will create any limitation for women, especially for women who are less privileged, who do not or cannot afford the opportunity to break the barrier?
So the first thing I would say is that, by virtue of being born a woman in today's Nigeria, the odds are already stacked against you. So take, for example, there are certain jobs you cannot do. There are some laws that have not been changed yet that allow women, to take those kinds of jobs. There are certain things you cannot get a passport for your child. So even the issue of parenting, the identity of parenting is skewed against women. You cannot travel with a child without the father's consent and things like that. So those kinds of challenges come up. And when women are, unfortunately, within low-income communities, they are exposed to some of these challenges, maybe in greater intensity, particularly when they have no opportunity to earn a living income. And for those of them who work in the informal economy, they are then constrained to life on the margins. And life on the margins can be precarious. It can be termed illegal, as we see with the street traders. It can expose them to gender-based violence, as we see sometimes in the public transportation system. It can also expose their children to childhood illnesses due to ignorance, lack of education, and things like that. So it is a man's world, but it's our responsibility, particularly as planners, because urban and regional planning is a social justice discipline. It is our responsibility to work towards a more inclusive society and a more equitable city for both men and women.
Considering the challenges and complexities involved, how do we enhance the participation of women in the land acquisition process?
Okay, so we just completed a study on home ownership aspirations in some low-income communities, and we discovered from talking to women, we spoke to about 50 women, asking them about their home ownership status, about their home ownership aspirations. And the general consensus was that many of them were not concerned about home ownership at this stage in their lives, particularly those who had children in school. Their focus was to get their children to have a leg up in life. And so getting women to start to aspire to land ownership or to have the opportunities for land ownership start with ensuring that the basic services are in place. So where you have education that is guaranteed, then the woman doesn't have to worry about having to go in search of an extra job to put her children in school or to keep her children in school. She can then focus her income on other things. So we found out that many of them also have this aspiration that if my child is able to cross this barrier and transit out of poverty, then the child will be able to take care of me. So for many women, actually, home ownership or land acquisition is not a priority. Rather, their priority is to have their children transit out of poverty so that they can secure a better life for themselves and consequently for them.
So are you saying that the dominance of men will continue to remain from all that you've explained in land acquisition?
What I would say is that women are natural nurturers. So until the system moves to a more equitable system, until the system moves to one that provides opportunities for everyone, until we are able to break the barriers that entrench poverty. We will continue to see this. And it's not so much women not wanting to have, but women prioritizing the progress of their children above, material things.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Cable Plus Property. Also, head on to Instagram, follow our page at Cable Plus Property, like our Facebook page at Cable Plus Property. Till we come your way again, this is Cable Plus Property.